In this chapter, you will learn how to serve copies of your completed forms and how to complete the affidavit of service form to prove that the other party and the county attorney's office have been served. Before we walk through the affidavit of service, let's discuss what service of process is. Service of process is giving legal notice to the other parties on a case. When you serve someone, you give them copies of paperwork you are filing with the court. This tells them what you are asking for from the court, your reasons for making those requests, and when and where the hearing will take place. Service can be done in different ways. For a motion to stop COLA, you can serve the other party and the county attorney's office by personal service, regular U.S. mail, or electronic service. Personal service means someone else, not you, hand delivers a copy of the forms to the other party at their home or leaves them with someone of suitable age or discretion who also lives in the home. For the county attorney's office, the forms can be hand delivered to their office. Service by regular U.S. mail means someone else, not you, mails a copy of the forms to the other party by first-class mail. Certified mail is not required for a motion to stop COLA. Service can also be done electronically. For more information about electronic service, go to www.mncourts.gov/efile. As explained in the instructions for the motion to stop COLA, one very important rule about service is that you cannot be the person to serve the forms. You must find someone who is not a party to the case and is at least 18 years old to serve the paperwork for you. The person must also be willing to sign the affidavit of service form. For a motion to stop COLA, you must serve copies of the motion to stop COLA, affidavit in support of motion to stop COLA, and tax returns or other proof of income for the past 3 years. Be sure to make 3 copies of each. 1 copy for you, 1 copy for the other party, and 1 copy for the county attorney's office. It is important to properly serve your forms and to serve them on time. There are different service deadlines depending on the type of service you use. For personal service, the forms must be hand-delivered at least 21 days before the hearing date. The forms must also be served at least 21 days before the hearing date for electronic service. For service by first-class mail, the forms must be mailed at least 24 days before the hearing date. If you do not serve your forms to the other parties on time, your case may not be heard or your motion may be dismissed. This could result in the COLA increase going into effect. It is very important to serve your forms properly and on time. For expedited process cases, you must serve and file your forms no later than April 30th. If you miss the April 30th deadline, the COLA increase will take effect on May 1st. What if you don't know the other party's address? If you do not know the other party's address and have been unsuccessful in finding it, you can ask the court for an order directing the Child Support Office to mail your forms to the other party. To make this request, you will need to fill out some other forms. These forms are called the Request for County to Serve papers. Be sure to get the packet of forms, which includes instructions and the form you need to fill out. You can find these forms at www.mncourts.gov/forms in the Child Support category. You will file these forms together with your motion to stop COLA forms. If the court orders the County Child Support Office to mail the forms to the other party, this would meet the service requirement. You would still be responsible for serving the county attorney's office. Some important reminders on service. After the other parties are served, the person who served the forms will fill out and sign the affidavit of service form. This form cannot be signed until after service is complete. Remember that you cannot serve the papers yourself. You must have someone who is not a party to the case and at least 18 years old serve the forms for you. A copy of the affidavit of service form does not get served on the other parties. This form is only filed with the court as your proof of service. Be sure to also make a copy for your own records. Now we will fill out the affidavit of service form. You can fill out most of this form for the person who served your paperwork. The person who served the paperwork can also fill it out for you. However, the person who served the forms must be the person to sign the form. Start by filling out the caption the same way you did on your other forms. Then check the box for how your forms were served. Personal service or service by mail. For purposes of this chapter, we will focus on those two forms of service. In our example, the forms were served by regular U.S. mail. Next, fill in the name of the person who served the documents, the date service was made, and the documents that were served. In our example, Betty Rubble is the person who served the motion to stop COLA forms on September 30th, 2020. As explained in an earlier chapter, the forms that are required to be served are the motion to stop COLA and the affidavit in support of motion with attached financial documents. Next, fill in the names of the other parties that were served. In our example, Betty served the petitioner, Wilma Rubble, so she checked the box for petitioner and filled in Wilma's name. Remember to also check the box for the county attorney's office and fill in the information. Next, check the box for personal service or service by mail and fill in the blanks. In our example, Betty mailed the form, so the box for mailing is checked. Betty also filled in Wilma Rubble's name and address, as well as the city and state where the forms were mailed from, Mankato, Minnesota. At the bottom of the affidavit of service form, fill in the name, address, telephone, and email address of the person who served the forms for you. Remember that the affidavit of service should not be signed until the copies have been served on the other parties by the server. When the copies have been served and the affidavit of service has been filled out, the person who served the forms is now ready to sign under penalty of perjury. By signing the affidavit under penalty of perjury, the server is stating that the information in the document is true to the best of their knowledge. Perjury is the crime of intentionally lying or misrepresenting the truth, punishable by jail or other sanctions. They should also fill in the county and state where they were when they signed the form. As explained earlier in this chapter, the affidavit of service form does not get sent to the other party. It is only filed with the court. However, it is a good idea to make a copy for your records. This is the end of Chapter 3. Click on Chapter 4 to go over the finishing steps, including filing your motion to stop COLA with the court.